Hello, everybody. This is game 2 of ranking up our 3 dawn account all the way to hopefully 9 dawn. We were going to do the dragon enclosure, but I think my opponent really does not want us to play the dragon enclosure, so we're just going to not play it this game. Um, so we'll see how this game goes. We're gonna go ahead and take the corner. I don't often take the corner. Um, I usually like to double approach or tanuki away. But in this case, I think I'm going to just simply take the corner. I think it's really simple and pretty easy here. This push is very bad. You don't want to waste any aji here because in some cases, white may want to play h17 at some point, in which case it allows the possibility that white can play here at e18 to kind of reduce the amount of points that black is getting on the bottom of the board. In this case, you can say that this is pushing from behind, basically, and allowing black to kind of just build up points down here for free. And white isn't really going to get much value from this wall. We're going to go in Ahane. I expect my opponent to cut me here. Oh, they didn't. Okay. Now, the cut would have been bad because it would have looked something like I would play. So if they had cut here at h17, I would then play here at j17, and I would have pressed them down. And it would have been really important to play g18 to then make them run on the first line. Luckily for them, they did not play that. So instead, we kind of get some third line territory here. And it's kind of hard for white not to play this way to give me that third line territory. So I would say that this is probably the only way that white could really play there. So he's going to approach his corner with a high move. I don't really like this move either, but I don't think there's that much wrong with it. We're just going to create an enclosure. So he's jumping straight into the corner. I'm not really sure what he's expecting here. But we're happy even if we just simply live with this group. We're not going to try to kill the corner. We're not strong enough to kill the corner. We're just going to accept the outside. We're just accepting the outside. Now we need to make sure that this turn is sente because we want to play f2, but we only want to play f2 if it's sente. I don't think it's sente. So I'm going to go ahead and take a base. But we're going to play really close here because we have a stone at c14. Okay, so he's going for my other corner. And we'll take the larger side of the board. Make sure our wall is towards the larger part because that's where we're expecting to get more points. And we'll go ahead and also take an extension. I think I'm going to go with this one. This is usually my favorite extension off of this wall. This is very close. One of the reasons you don't want to do this is, we'll go ahead and show you here, assuming that he does it. Yeah, okay, so when you play really close like this, it's almost the equivalent of attaching, except it's a little worse because when you play here and your opponent extends down and you extend up, we get this really bad shape called hitting your head on a wall almost. And basically, it's a very bad shape for white that you do not want to end up in. We're going to go ahead and push through here, which means that white has to fix. They choose to drop down. I don't really care too much about the value of the second line, so I'm going to choose not to respond to my opponent. And we can see that my opponent kind of ignored my approach over here. So that means I want to now start working my way over here and utilizing the weaknesses that they left behind. We're going to extend upward. We don't actually care about these two stones here, just more so about the power that we're getting from them. Because this cutting point will eventually become possible. So if we extend one more time, so if we extend here like this, we can now play this cutting point that was left behind. Right, he has to protect now. We're going to go ahead and connect here because it's Sente. We don't have to give up these two stones. Our opponent can come back and live. And then we're going to go ahead and turn on this group that's kind of still doesn't have two eyes yet. It's still looking to make life itself. So we can attack it. We'll go ahead within a knight's move. Make sure that we're not playing too close or too small. So we want to play a really good knight's move. So we're looking for shape. Attachment. So he's looking for cutting again. Very big issue at this level. Very huge issue at this level. There is no hold bars down. Basically, they don't stop and go, hey, I'm not strong enough to do this. They just go, there's a cutting point, let me hit it. There's another cutting point, let me hit it. There's another cutting point, let me hit it. White is not strong enough to play this way. This group isn't alive for white, and this group isn't alive for white. So white has two weak groups that they're trying to fight with, right? And if they have two weak groups to fight with, some people might think, oh, but don't you
Yoyomi
have
now
this group
starts.
here? Isn't that one weak group? You're right, it is one weak group. But the thing is, I'm only going to be running with one weak group, and they're going to be running with two. And now they're going to be running with three. So we can go ahead and play out here to kind of create liberties for ourselves. And so now you can see that we have this group to attack, this group to attack, and this group to attack. I am going to choose the lesser of two evils, and I'm going to Atari here to surround this group. My opponent is assuming that they're going to be able to get out here, but they didn't protect, and I don't think it's fair to allow them to live here. They didn't protect this group. You know, they decided, hey, I'd rather attack it and murder your group. I don't want to defend. So I'm not going to allow them to live here. I'm going to take this group and make them come back and fix this one. They can live with this one if they'd like, but this one they have to give up. They can't make three weak groups and then suddenly live with all of them. You know, you have to be able to defend your weak groups. Defending is a really good way to attack, and if you're just constantly attacking without thinking, you're going to lose a lot of groups. You're just going to die across the board. It's not good. It is a huge problem at this level. We're gonna defend our cutting points because hey, if he lives here, where's this group going? Where's this group going? He would be going towards my strength if I push again, right? So we're gonna go ahead and defend here. We're gonna say, hey, you can take this stone. We're gonna take good shape and we're gonna surround these stones here. And in exchange, you have to go back and make life. So you can see that he goes back and makes life. So now we can go ahead and start pushing again. And now we're saying, hey, we're capturing these stones. Of course, he's not going to accept that these are dead. Because to him, it's like, I had a plan here. I was attacking you. If I just give up these stones now, not only do I lose the game, but also it's bad if my plan looks bad. So he abandoned this plan too late, basically. We definitely never want to try to create as many groups as we do here and expect that it's going to go our way every time. Very bad for white. And he's kind of just adding sacrifices to the whole thing, right? So we'll go ahead and say, okay, you want to live with this? Fine, you can live with that. You can live with that. We'll go ahead and hot A here. However, we're gonna cut this stone off. We're gonna cut this stone off. Okay, so he lives there. So we'll go ahead and take our sensei now. We want to make sure he comes back and lives here. And now we will leave because we're still looking at cutting points. We don't need to kill this. We don't need to kill this. So we can see that white has corner, corner. So what has he got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 points. Maybe 7 points. And then 2 points here, and then maybe 6 points here. So they don't really have a lot on the board. So it's kind of like, do we really need to kill him as well? So we're not going to kill him here. We're just going to simply take our points, and we're going to stay connected up. Because we can already say that we have enough points just purely on the bottom of this board. Purely on the bottom of this board is enough to equal everything that he has. Okay, now we don't want to die ourselves. We want to make sure we're going to be alive. So we're going to go ahead and how do we want to play this? We're going to go ahead and just do a simple jump here. We're connected up here, so we don't have to worry too much about this. Now we will obviously make this into points for sure. I assume he's going to Atari or maybe Connect. I don't think he's going to play K6. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll actually take this stone. We'll say that, hey, we've got 3 eyes here. We got 1, 2, and 3. So white's going to go ahead and try to kill this now. Let's see. All right, we'll go ahead and Atari from here. We'll turn here, threaten white's corner, and we'll come back here. So now we're kind of starting to cut off these stones. Sure, you can remove our eyes there because we're looking to surround this instead. And then we'll connect up. As long as we're staying connected. I do not believe that he's going to be able to surround me with these stones. And then we'll go ahead and say, hey, we're out here. For sure. Yep. So he might look for kind of like an H2. Yep. So he's going to go for the H2. But we don't actually care if he cuts off this group here because we're already alive over here. So as long as we cut these off, then we're pretty much fine. And so I know what some of you might be thinking. You said he created 3 weak groups and you didn't kill any of them. I chose not to kill any of them. I chose to allow them to live. I do not need to kill any of these groups to win the game. I just wanted to simply build territory, and that's it. Now, I could have made the game more bloody, for sure. But sometimes it's good to realize that when things are really difficult, making sure that your groups are safe and that you're not simply being too aggressive or mindless aggression. Basically, you can win without mindless aggression. I recognized that my opponent had 1 weak group, then 2 weak groups, and then they had 3 weak groups. I put pressure on them, and then I created points out of that. And that was enough for me to win the game. Again, we're just going to block because we don't want this cutting point. Now we're definitely going to respond to this one. We're going to go ahead and cut here because this is too deep. Our opponent is now kind of like in a state of, I don't want to lose. I need to figure out what I need to do to win. And unfortunately for him, that is playing random, playing completely random. But I am now going to actually go back and I am going to kill this. I don't believe my opponent is doing anything here other than that. The only thing my opponent needs to do is accept that this game is over. There's not a lot left. We already went through most of the board. There's nothing else that needs to be done here.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
So in the end, they
4,
did end up losing a
3,
group,
2,
but only
1.
because they decided that they wanted to try to come in the
2
bottom of the
yo-yos
board
left.
that they had given me. They had said, hey, Paige, let's have a deal. You take the bottom of the board, and in exchange, I get to live here, I get to live here, and you get to live here. And he wanted to go back on that deal. And so that's the end of the game. My opponent did resign. And yeah, we'll go ahead and end the video here. If you found any of my rambling entertaining in the slightest or any educational at all, please do subscribe to the channel. And I will be posting more videos tomorrow. And have a wonderful night.